you, man of all seasons, philanthropist, help to anybody, Dr. Richard Phelps. Hi, Richard.
Hey, sorry I'm a little late.
That's all right.
Thank you.
We're a laid-back program. We don't try to put on airs or anything. You know, we don't do that. But our friend, our other co-host, Nellie Harrington, couldn't make it. And of course, our director, Brandon Lautier, couldn't make it. But we also have Lucy Fournette, a friend of ours that's helping in the computer. And also, of course, the great Jacob White, who has been a friend to everybody, you know. He puts up with me, so he's got to be a good guy, you know. So anyway, we thank y'all for tuning in to watch us. How you feel, Richard?
Good, except for eye allergies. That's why the dark glasses tonight.
Yeah.
So all that rain and mold and pollen, so it just kind of gained up in the yards.
Yeah.
Anybody notice how fast their yards were growing? Like 8 inches for our yard in 1 week. So that keeps the yard guys in shape.
How you like our studio?
Good.
When we start the show off, we always start with prayer, and I would like to start off with prayer for Miss Jackie Ballou, my guardian angel, who is just a fine lady, you know. Class act. She's always been there for me. And Miss Jackie, I sent for my second book, I mentioned your name in my second book for thanks for being a friend. So that's going to be in it. But anyway, nice people. They got some great ladies out there, and some of these older ladies are class act, like Patsy Bertrand. We ask for prayers for Patsy and her family, and her son Possum, and daughters Robin and what's her name? I forgot her name. Anyway, his two sisters. And we ask for prayers for, of course, Denver Nobles and Roseland Nobles, two great people
Yes.
who lead the NAMI group, which me and Richard are facilitators at.
And that group meets first and third Sundays, not the fifth Sunday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. at First Lutheran Church, 301 West Farrell Road. It's kind of behind the Starbucks coffee where Settlers Trace and Ambassador is. And there's another group, Friends and Family of those with mental health issues, serves the needs of those family members and friends who want to know more about what their loved one is going through with mental health.
Yes, thank you, Richard. And then also I would like to thank Jean Simpson if she's watching. She gave me a haircut and trimmed my beard. Does it look appropriate?
Looks really good. She's good.
Good. If I was hitchhiking on the road, would you think this guy looks dangerous? I'm not picking him up.
No, you look very well trimmed.
I look trimmed. That's good. Thank you, Jean.
I tried a beard.
Nice lady, friends of Miss Jackie. And Miss Jackie, what can I say? That's my guardian angel.
Tried a beard, didn't work, itched too much.
Yeah.
We need prayer for a lady named E. I don't want to use her full name, but she's facing some stress from a neighbor. She has multiple sclerosis and depression and anxiety. Another lady out there named Linda, who lost her husband 7 years ago to pancreatic cancer, and then a year later, her brother committed suicide. And it put her into a real funk, into a depression. But she's got a really good therapist. So if you're out there, everything has just hit you like a bowling ball, and you just don't feel you're going to cope.
Yeah.
There are good therapists. Some of them may not be psychiatrists, but there's some darn good nurse practitioners out there. Mm-hmm. They got outpatient therapy. There's some good facilities. Look at healthgrades.com when you're looking them up in the phone book or online.
And I would like to ask for prayers for Jenny Perrone.
Yes.
She's a good friend of ours. This lady is, like you have women that you can gauge in from 1 to 10 on the good scale, and this lady is a 1/10 of 10% of a high echelon of females. So that's the type you want to bring to your mom, you know. And then she is a class act lady. We ask for prayers for her. I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah, I'd like to have prayers for Mike, my friend. I don't think he likes me to mention his last name. He had a bout with cancer and he's doing all right. He runs a pawn shop in Lafayette. I'll say that much. You know, and he's a good guy. You know?
Yes. Oh, there was somebody else. Oh, we have a friend, Marla in Seattle, that just had ankle replacement. Her pain level's gone down quite a bit, but she just asked prayer for her mother, who is going into the same hospital and who has, her mom is 83 and she has some limitations coming up mentally, so just pray that all gets resolved. Marla has been through a lot of surgeries, and when her and her family hosted me, I was just amazed how much Marla knew about mental health and nutrition.
Lord, Marla's a good girl. She's very pretty, bright girl. You know, Richard has been knowing her for what, 35
years.
35 years.
And I learned a lot about organic food and trying to keep away from as much pesticides and toxins in the food.
Yeah.
I felt better. I kept light on the meat. I ate a lot of, oh, you're all going to mouth water on this, Alaskan king salmon and steelhead trout.
They fed you well.
Oh, fish is good for you.
Steelhead trout? I've never tried steelhead trout. It's good?
Oh, it was just unbelievable. Then I think the second to last day we had lobster at $4 a pound in the salad. It just, come on, it was good.
And according to prayers, we'd like to ask for prayers for our TV crew, Nellie Harrington and Brandon Lantier, and also Richard's his girlfriend,
Cheryl. They all got hit with some kind of intestinal bug. Cheryl's on the mend, but Nellie and Brandon got hit pretty hard. So far, I'm okay. I felt kind of crummy Wednesday, and I missed a good class on grief. Yeah, I need to mention that. There's a good class on grief. It seems like a lot of people in our age bracket, Bob, are losing parents or other loved ones. I plumb forgot where the class is held at. Maybe Lucille can help me on this, but it's 6 o'clock every Wednesday. Lucille, can you tell us where that class is? I guess she can't hear us, but I think it's at Family Life Church, but I could be wrong.
It's at Family Life Church off of Dulles.
Family Life Church off of Dulles. Because, Bob's getting a call.
Hello, Denver Nobles. Yes, Denver. Okay. Call Jacob. There's a loud whistle. They can barely hear us. Okay, we're having trouble. Jacob, there's a loud whistle. They can barely hear us. So we're gonna get Jacob White is a genius. So I think he'll take care of the thing. You know.
Thank you, Denver. We'll get the techie stuff solved.
Now we start off, usually we do our books. I guess I'm kind of a ham. I like my books. And I'm going to read from the time travel. The couple find themselves in a small room. This is at the 1936 Olympics.
Where's your phone?
What?
Denver's talking to you on the cell phone. Stop talking to you.
It's off.
Okay, all right. I think they fixed it.
The couple find themselves in a small room with a bunk bed and a black man sleeping in the lower bunk. This is when Jared and Susan take the time machine to go to the 1936 Olympics. Jared reads the gauges with state arriving at the Berlin Olympic Village, August 2nd, 1936. And before he and Susan can get out of the machine, the man wakes up, makes a loud grunting noise, and then a loud startled voice says, "Who are you? What do you want?" Jared knows this man is probably Jesse Owens as he set the machine to land in his room. Jared, with his amazing powers of perception, then says, It is what it is. Let things venture where they may. You'll do the right thing. Remember, manifest destiny. Upon hearing Jared's statement, the man scratches his head, looks with an interest in his eyes, says, I've been waiting for you since I've been in the Olympic Village for the last few days. The visitors told me you two would show up. Jesse looks at Susan while he was talking. I'm Jesse Owens, but I guess you already guessed. I am Jared Bork, and this is my girlfriend, Susan DeMai. We're from the future in the year 1968 to find you. That sounds cool, Richard.
Okay, I got a crazy question. Who were the other visitors?
The visitors were the quatrains, the aliens.
Okay.
They sent the message. They send the messages to the people they're going to see.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
This is from Mental Illness, God, and Healing. This is from my experiences with God and how He has helped me with my mental condition. When I think of the lack of romantic love in my life, I know that talking to a lot of mentally ill people that also have similar thoughts of no one wanting them, I am not alone. I remember the rough and bad treatment I got from my dad, who let me know he didn't want me and never accepted me as his son. I realized that I'm actually all alone with no one to care for me, and sometimes when I think those thoughts, the schizophrenia manifests itself, and I start thinking strange thoughts about myself, like I am no good, I'm a pervert, which I'm not. But with schizophrenia, which I will cover later, it's a mind illness. It means to split the mind where one can't tell what's real and what's not real. Okay, I'm on a roll, man. Okay, this is from my book, From Light to Darkness to Glory. This is one of my, I'll start where I am. I was still drinking Diet Coke from a gallon mug constantly, and although I no longer smoked, I still did skull bandits and would spit the juice in a rag during the meetings. This is when we went to our Bridges support group. Mm-hmm. I would put it on the table and just spit into it while the meeting was going on. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
It was a pretty disgusting thing to watch, and now I wonder how the members put up with me. As for smoking, since I've quit and have been delivered by the Lord, I have never felt the urge to light up a cigarette, not even once. Boy, when the Lord delivers a person from an addiction, they stay delivered permanently. I have known people who have been delivered from drugs and alcohol and cigarettes like myself, and they never went back to their old habits. Of course, I know some people have turned away from the Lord and gone back to their old habits, but I never did and will remain smokeless the rest of my life, God willing. And I used to smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day for 25 years, I think.
You shouldn't be alive, because my father tried to quit. First quit the cigarettes, then went to cigars, then went to this special pipe that was filtering out all the nicotine. But one little problem, us kids are exposed to all that.
Yeah.
The secondhand smoking, I would get horrible migraines. The kind where you get depressed and you wonder, why does this keep happening?
I know.
And it can affect you mentally. It can make you very depressed.
Smoking is a bad.
Yeah, the migraines are the worst. And sometimes you get those from nicotine withdrawal, or you've had way too much caffeine, and then all of a sudden you go cold turkey. Mm-hmm. Now you know our age group. We're talking some 60s language here, like going cold turkey.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, there were some good things about the 60s, but mental health, as you and I know, took kind of a back seat back then.
Yeah. Well, everybody was doing drugs. I was doing drugs.
Yeah.
You know? Let me go from this is my book with the, I don't know if you can see it. Let me try to come up to show the picture of it. Where is it? Okay. Let me see.
There you go.
This is a picture of an alien, and it's called Time Tripping in the Planets. That's my second book, the sequel to The Time Traveler, and they'll be out this year. And let me read. they're walking on the planet Quator. That's their alien friends. And Jared and Susan are walking. As they climb further up the trail, they soon recognize the flowers by their colors. Waves of purples and blues, along with some yellow and green petals, pulsating from the stems like living organs. Then to Jared and Susan's astonishment, the flowers they encounter make a sound, and the couple recognize the music as hymns from Gregorian chants that they heard when they went to Catholic Mass. They also heard music emanating from the flowers that were enchanting and very relaxing to the time travelers. They also recognized some Christian tunes without the words, but only the melody of Amazing Grace, which Susan started to sing. And y'all know the song of Amazing Grace. How's that sound, Richard? That's
very
interesting
creative.
stuff.
You know what's interesting? They just now think that a person could travel through a black hole wormhole into another universe and not get squished by the gravity.
Yeah.
Now, to actually do that, we're many, many years away from that, but now it seems actually possible.
Wow.
And then somebody else came up with this idea, now this sounds crazy, that we're living inside a wormhole in a universe inside another universe.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around that one.
I can't either.
And then with that universe being inside another wormhole, I mean, how far back can you take all that stuff?
And we owe all this mystery to the Creator of Jesus Christ. And when we go to meet Him, we'll be we'll be in a classroom for millions of years. That's what my friend Richard Leday said.
Yeah, I've got a book at home. I'll try to bring it someday. They just found out something about the eye that just blew them all away. They found fiber optic channels in the eye, on the surface of the retina, and I've had 24 eye operations, so I know a little bit about this. They found the light is getting channeled right to the back of the eye where the rods and cones are.
Yeah, the human body is incredible. Yeah. Let me read some of the support groups, which Denver Nobles, and he's about the head of the NAMI group that meets every first and third Sunday. Codependence Anonymous. Okay, I'm only going to read it one time because we got a lot to talk about. Codependence Anonymous, 888-444-2359. I'll read it again, if you can get a pen. If you want to know the number, if you don't have it, call me. 888-444-2359. Sexaholics Anonymous, 615-370-6062. Again, 615-370-6062. Food Addicts Anonymous, 772-878-9657. Read it again. 772-878-9657. Drug Addicts Anonymous, 214-444-9585. Again, 214-444-9585. Here's another one with Sex Addicts Anonymous, 800-477-8191. Counseling services and support groups. 800-477-8191. Here's one that I could have used years ago. Nicotine Anonymous, 800-642-0666. And again, 800-642-0666. Here's one I could have used back then too. Marijuana Anonymous, 800-766-6779. And again, 800-766-6779. And Gamblers Anonymous, 855-222-5542. And again, 855-222-5542. And then, of course, Alcoholics Anonymous, 574-583-0003. And here we go again, 574-583-0003. So anyway, that's the support groups. What you think about that? We're going to continue to give them from now on the show. And if anybody would find out other support groups, y'all could always call me. My number's not up there, but it's, if you want to listen, it's 781-4255. I don't mind giving out my number, you know.
Did you write down the NAMI warm line by chance?
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Richard. Richard has a photographic memory. It's incredible. If I want a number, I'll call Richard and he don't even have to look it up. He just gives me the number. Incredible memory. Here's a warm line. 1-800-730-8375. And you can call this number to find out, to get help and some information for just about anything, or just have somebody to talk to if you want to talk.
I believe that only runs Wednesdays through Sunday evenings. Maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that'll at least get you started. If it's not the right times, they'll give you a recording. Each state has a NAMI office. So you would go to NAMI, that's NAMI.org, and then you can look it up, your affiliate for each state, like for our states in Baton Rouge. And NAMI Louisiana, for example, would list all the different support groups in our state. So through NAMI.org, which has a link for veterans, which sadly to say, after 8 years, where things should have been fixed, the same is still going on with our veterans. They're getting over-medicated. The wait times are unacceptable. We got 22 vets a day committing suicide. That is unacceptable. I don't care who's in the White House after the elections. They better pay attention to our veterans.
And I think, well, we'll see. We'll just trust that God picks the right person.
But if you see a veteran and they look like they're not doing so hot, don't be intrusive, but say hi to them and then kind of use your intuition and your experience to see where they're at. If they look like they're in crisis, get them hooked up to a NAMI or veterans group. Don't just let them pass by, because you don't know what they could be going through. Yeah. A lot of veterans cannot handle fireworks displays. Yeah. Not just our pets. They can go through a major PTSD, post-traumatic stress.
And talking about PTSD, there's also brain trauma, and the number is 919. You see, I beat you. I remember that.
Yeah, thank you.
656-7928 with Paul Bosworth. I'll read it again. 919-656-7928. That's for people with brain trauma injuries.
That meets the first Monday of each month. Victory Addiction Center, 111 Liberty Avenue. It's across Kalisaloom from Randall's Cajun Restaurant. Just real quick, Bob, I want to mention Kurt Traho, who's been on this show, who brought his therapy dog. She's certified. Her name is, and you all love this who are into Star Wars, her name is Obi-Wan Kenobi, but she's a working therapy dog. She cannot be touched or approached when she's working. She's sitting down, you would have to ask permission from the owner to even approach her, but normally that's not recommended. But that dog could sense where Kurt was at telling his story, particularly when he was stressed, telling the story about the car that hit him.
Yeah.
The dog would come up to him and put her paws around him and just calm him down.
Yeah, and so there's many avenues to help people with, even if you have a brain trauma or a mental illness. You know, we read the support avenues you can go to, and we'll read it, Richard, every time we're on here.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And now I'm going to read this that I researched. Started it last time, but I'm going to go again. Most people believe that mental disorders are rare and happen to someone else. In fact, mental disorders are common and widespread. An estimated 54 million Americans suffer from some sort of mental disorder in a given year. And how many people in America are there? About 300
About
million?
300 million, so
Well,
a quarter of that would be 500?
20%, but it's not
Something.
20%. It's almost
About
one
70
quarter of the population.
I'd say about 75, 80 million.
Yeah,
One out of four.
quarter of the population have a mental illness.
And I look at my own neighborhood. There's an individual across our street who's been in and out of the mental health facilities. He gets just enough meds to last, then he crashes again and has to go back and forth. Our budget was really hit hard during the state legislative session. There's still time to call in, but we don't want them to cut anything more out of behavioral health.
No.
I did a count, and those statistics are very close. 1 out of every 4, and that's very accurate.
Yes.
People who have had a head injury often get depression. Or let's say you become disabled, you lose an eye, a leg, whatever. You can go into some major depression.
Yeah. Let me go on.
Yeah.
A mental illness is a disease that causes mild to severe disturbance in thought and or behavior, resulting in an inability to cope with life's ordinary demands and routines. There are more than 200 classified forms of mental illness. No wonder 1/4 have them. Some of the more common disorders are, and y'all will recognize this, depression, bipolar disorder, dementia, schizophrenia, and anxiety disorders. Symptoms may include changes in mood, personality, personal habits, and or social withdrawal. It may be related to excessive stress due to a particular situation or series of events, as with cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Mental illnesses are often physical as well as emotional and psychological. It may be caused by a reaction to environmental stresses, genetic factors, biochemical imbalances, or a combination with these. Now listen, this is some good stuff. With proper care and treatment, many individuals learn to cope or recover from a mental illness or emotional disorder. And like I think I read Emotions Anonymous. I'm going back. I didn't read it. No, I think I did. Let me read it again. Emotions Anonymous. 651-647-9712. So anyway, you know, these mental illnesses are heinous things, but you can have a life. Look at me. You know, Richard doesn't have much of a mental disorder, but Richard does cope with things. He was a premature child, and you know, they have a lot of susceptibility to the environment and different things. But I've been coping with schizophrenia for 46 years, and I have learned with my spirituality and taking my medicine and seeing my doctors and everything. I have a life, you know, and this is a life. Of course, I always say this about a guy that nobody wanted, you know, nobody was interested for romance or anything hardly, and I've been alone by myself just about all my life, you know. So I'm just saying that if you're like me, and I know there's a lot of people with mental illnesses that are all out there by themselves with no one to help them, and then a lot of them living in poverty, and I can feel for you, you know. That's why we come on the show to talk to you, and if you ever want to talk to me, my number is you can 781-4255. And if you don't remember it, you can always call AOC. You can look it up and leave a message for me, and I will definitely call you back. But what I'm trying to say is we all have to deal with this world the way it is right now, and people with mental illnesses have to deal with it maybe 5 or 6 times harder than the average person, you know. So I'm going to give you some of the. If you're out there and wondering if you have a mental illness, here are some of the symptoms of it: confused thinking, prolonged depression, sadness or irritability, feelings of extreme highs and lows, excessive fears, worries, and anxieties, social withdrawal. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Parents, if you see your kid going into social withdrawal, that's a red light.
All right. Isolation.
Yeah. It's not good for anybody. Dramatic changes in eating or sleeping habits, strong feelings of anger, strange thoughts like delusions, seeing or hearing things that aren't there, hallucinations, been there, done that. Growing inability to cope with daily problems and activities. Numerous unexplained physical ailments. Let me see what else I got.
So you mean psychosomatic?
Huh?
Psychosomatic. Yeah.
Here's some more. Substance abuse. And this is says children and adolescents, but it also goes with adults.
Right.
Changes in sleeping and eating habits, inability to cope with problems in daily activities, excessive complaints of physical ailments, changes in ability to manage responsibilities at home or at school, defiance of authority, theft, vandalism, intense fear. Now, I've got to say, if you're out there and you're wondering what's wrong with you, why you're so afraid out there, it might be because of a mental disorder. You know, it is like back in the days when I was really when my mental illness was really at its height. Like I've said this before, I don't know if you haven't heard this before. When I would be at a store and someone would look at me and say, "I want to talk to you," I would be so afraid of meeting a 250 or 300 pound man in an alley with a knife screaming at me, with just someone telling me they want to talk to me. That's how bad these illnesses can get. And that's how bad the fear can get. It's horrible. I don't, you know, now I don't get as fearful. I still get fearful, but of course I rely on my spirituality and Jesus Christ, my Lord, who we talk about this a lot, because actually I'm by myself most of the time, and he's the only one there that can comfort me. I have friends like Richard and Nellie and Lucy and
Robert.
But you know, mostly I have my relationship with Jesus Christ, which keeps me going every day. But let me go with some of the other things for kids. Now, if you're listening to this, to beware of your kids. Changes in school performance. They might not be doing as well. Poor grades despite strong efforts. Changes in sleeping and or eating habits. Excessive worry or anxiety. Refusing to go to bed at school. Hyperactivity. Persistent nightmares. Persistent disobedience or aggression. Frequent temper tantrums. So if y'all see this in your friends or your relatives or something, it might be something to think about. Now,
You just keyed on something. A lot of children have not been screened in the past for mental health issues, and they go through childhood and teen years not being diagnosed. The temper tantrums could be due to any number of things. It could be autism, it could be depression, bipolar. Please make sure if they're getting screened in the school district that they have qualified, degreed people doing that so they're not missed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to slip through the system and get undiagnosed. They're going to get worse. So if your school board hasn't had a lot of budget cuts, make sure that's a priority. And please, folks, contact the legislature in Baton Rouge. There's another budget situation coming up again. Advocate. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
I mean, in other words, get to know who your legislative rep is and your senator. Even if they don't call you back, be polite, but insist on a response. Your call could equal the opinion of 1,000 people who stay silent.
Yeah, they can save people's lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now let me read this. This is, like I've always, when I was diagnosed in 1970, I was so depressed and out of it. People, and of course, when you don't say the right things or act the right way, you'll be treated differently. I was ostracized, after the hippie days, when my friends all got married and went their own ways. I was by myself, My dad didn't understand me. He was one of those rough type guys that that beat the Germans and the Japanese in World War II strong, and opinionated. And if you didn't do what he wanted, you took the
Went to the old woodshed.
You went to the old woodshed. So anyway, I grew up like that thanks to my beautiful mom, Henrietta Borgby Avenue, who taught me love and everything, even though I didn't get it from anybody except her. I'm still alive today, and I went through some hard times, but when I met Mike Fuseli, he's a councilman in St. Martinville, and he saw a hurting brother. He led me to the Lord, and my life has not been the same, and I would like to say, if you're out there with a mental illness, you might not, we go to the support group, and a lot of them aren't really into God or anything, but I'm adamant when I say my spirituality and my relationship with Jesus has brought me about 5 levels up from being depressed so many times, paranoid, hallucination, and everything, And I must say, I would say I'm a poster boy for schizophrenia, because it is a heinous illness. I explain the fear that you can go through, That's not counting hallucinations, thinking people are out to get you, and all kind of stuff, all kind of horrible things that warp the mind, racing thoughts, going to bed at night and having thoughts come into your head constantly, thinking people in the whole town are talking about you, laughing about you, plotting to hurt you, and then you thinking things about yourself that aren't true, and you're screaming and crying and anxiety at night for about 7-8 hours until you finally fall asleep and sleep in the daytime, you know. That's how bad these illnesses are, you know. And anybody that has a mental illness can agree with me, you know. And of course, the regular public doesn't understand this, you know. It is an invisible illness, you know. It's not a cut on the arm that can be healed that people will say, man, I understand, that's a bad cut. Or diabetes, I can say, man, that's a bad illness. I can feel for you. You don't get much empathy from people about mental illness because the knowledge about it isn't out there, you know. That's why I come on the show to try to explain to the public about these things, and it will change somebody's life, you know. But we're here to say that you can have a life with it, you know. And let me read about this guy. With psychology is starting to realize that spirituality can help with mental illness. How do Kenneth I. Paragon, PhD, is a leading expert in the psychology of religion and spirituality. Known for his scholarly work and his scientific analysis of religion's role in mental health. Let me read. Okay. Now, empirical studies of many groups dealing with major life stresses such as natural disaster, illness, loss of loved ones, divorce, and serious mental illnesses show that religion and spirituality are generally helpful to people in coping, especially people with the fewest resources facing the most uncontrollable of problems. Okay, there are many forms of religious coping, and some are more helpful than others. People can draw on many religious and spiritual resources that have been tied to better adjustment in times of crises. These positive religious coping methods, and I'm using the word religion, so y'all will understand. I'm not into religion, I'm just into Jesus. But anyway, these religious coping methods include spiritual support from God or a higher power, rituals to facilitate life transitions, spiritual forgiveness, support from a religious institution or clergy, and reframing a stressful situation into a large, more benevolent system of meaning. Okay, now there are some things about religion that people are turned off about, like life events can shake and shatter people spiritually as well as psychologically, socially, and physically. Like, what I mean is, this is a tough world, you know. It's getting tougher all the time.
Oh, it is.
And you know, people lose loved ones. People get divorced where they did everything right and they get brokenhearted. People get abused. People get sexually molested. You know, or murdered. Or all kind of bad things happen in this world, and it may cause somebody to lose their belief in God. You know, like I've talked to a few atheists, and that's what they think. But anyway. And these people may struggle spirituality with their understanding God, with inner conflicts, or with other people. A growing body of research has linked these spiritual struggles to higher levels of psychological distress, declines in physical health, and even greater risks of mortality. Thus, it is important for psychology and other healthcare providers to be aware of the dual nature of religion and spirituality, They can be vital sources for health and well-being, but they can also be sources of distress. You know, and we would like to say, you know, I'll this is a little monologue from Bob. You know, I will say that with these people that project God and ask for money, ask for money to heal people. I forgot what you call that.
Well, some groups hound
they
on
use
this.
religion to make themselves better and richer, and you got these poor people that are listening to them and believing what they say. You know, religion has been taken out of context and used like it's like Marx said, religion was an opiate for the people. Well, this is what I say. I believe, and if you're out there and you're confused about what to believe, and if you have been hurt, and all of us have been hurt, you know, some more so than others, and you're not sure about God or anything, just sit down one day and ask God, why is this happening to me? Or if you're really real, come into my life and show me, you know, and I will believe. And of course, that's what I did when my fusilier brought the Lord into my life and baptized me in the Bayou Teche, you know. But, you know, and I can feel for people so badly. You know, like our friend, Jane, what's her name?
Well, just say Jane.
Jane. She's blind. She comes to our support group, and she is such a delightful creature. You know, she's been blind from birth, and she likes coming to our support group, and you know, and a regular person looking at her might say, poor thing, you know, but she may be happier than people that are trying to become millionaires with the stress and everything. And she is a Christian. She goes to our Bible study and everything. And I'm just showing you, it isn't how much money you have and all that. It's how you feel about your inward self, you know. I used to wonder about that when I see people that were very, very disfigured or had so much more disabilities than me that said they were happy, you know, and that is the full line of it, you know.
Well, then take the opposite tack. You see people who appear to have it all: wealth, fame, political position, but they have insecurities, they have fears, anxiety, like we do,
and they OD.
They end up being so wrapped in a protective bubble that their cry for help sometimes gets ignored. Now, I don't know all the particulars what happened with Robin Williams' situation, but these actors, performers, etc., they live in a fishbowl. I couldn't handle that. You know, have someone following you around, you see yourself in a cheap magazine cover and rumors all over the place. I'm glad we don't live in that kind of world. Although we're getting more recognized on the street. We've had veterans come up to us in discount stores and talk to us. But their reality is planned for them. And there's very little time when they get a chance to cry out for help. And hopefully there won't be more situations like what happened to Robin Williams.
Yeah.
He was, in fact, I'm watching his movie, Patch Adams, about how that was based on a real incident, by the way, where they used laughter and humor to break up the monotony and boredom and tediousness of a doctor visit. Nobody really likes going to a waiting room and waiting for the doctor. It just can drive you to tears.
Yeah.
And the doctor could be stressed out, but that movie, I think, got several awards.
Yeah, Robin Will won an Oscar maybe once or twice. He was a fabulous comedian, an actor. But let me. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
Let me go on. How you like the show so far?
It's going good.
How do psychologists use religion and spirituality in clinical practice today? And that's starting to come out. Among the various approaches, which do you feel are most effective and why? Fragment. For many years, psychologists steered clear of religion and spirituality in clinical practices. That was perhaps because there was some history of a religious antipathy among early psychology leaders such as Sigmund Freud and B.F. Skinner, or perhaps because psychologists generally lack training in this area. Yet there are several good scientifically based reasons to attend to religion and spirituality in practice. Mm-hmm. For many people, religion and spirituality are key resources that can facilitate their growth. For others, religion and spirituality may be sources of problems that need to be addressed in the service of their health and well-being. Surveys show that people would like to be able to talk about matters of faith in psychological treatment. So that psychologists are ethically obliged to be respectful and attentive to the cultural diversity of their clients, and religion and spirituality contribute to our personal and social identities. Finally, emerging research is showing that spirituality integrated approaches to treatment are as effective as other treatments. There is, in short, good scientifically based reason to be more sensitive to religion and spirituality in clinical practice. What do you think about that?
That's good, but they also need to recognize that someone has been exposed to a toxic or cultic, and I'm talking more from a sociological perspective, religious group where there's been abuse, where there's been control over minute parts of a person's life. There was one such group that started all right, but they ended up, and this is adults now, mind you, where the adults were being spanked, they were prohibited from watching TV, listening to the radio. Yeah. So the therapist or counselor, the psychiatrist needs to be prepared to run into these situations. There are two books that I found very excellent. Not sure how much time we have here left, but Churches That Abuse, and recovering,
That's why I believe in Jesus Christ, mostly.
But let me give you this other book title. This is very important. Recovering from Churches That Abuse. It was written by sociologist Dr. Ron Enroth, E-N-R-O-T-H, professor of sociology at Westmont College in California. There was a group called Wellspring Recovery Center that dealt with those coming out of the cultic, aberrational groups where there was abuse.
Yeah.
Severe, where they couldn't function.
We're trying to talk about not the abuse of that. We mentioned something. We're trying to talk about if you're out there and you believe in Jesus Christ and you're not sure what to believe in, you've been burnt so many times by these cultic people or other people or by the charlatans on TV. Just ask God to show you that He's real, and most certainly He definitely will. And if you don't hear Him the first time, don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep asking, because He's all I have in my life, and He's what keeps me alive and functioning today, and I'm as healthy as a horse, and in spite of all the abuse I've had, He's still there with me, and He'll still be with you, and we come on the show to tell you, if you're out there mentally ill and have nobody, you're not alone with Him.
Unfortunately, the therapists are aware of these things and can help you reintegrate your spiritual beliefs without just throwing everything out the water.
We thank y'all for watching the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
we
you.
hope it has been insightful. We thank our great editor, Lucy Fournette, who came here to help us, and of course the class act guy, Jacob White, always,
Jake.
and of course thanks to Ed Bowie. He kept AOC. He's the backbone of AOC. Nicest people you ever want to meet coming to AOC. If you ever want to start a program, it costs $35 to become a member. You can use all the cameras and everything and start your own show like us if you want. So anyway, we thank y'all for watching. God bless. If you want to call me, 781-4255. I'll be glad to talk to anyone. And we ask for prayers for Miss Jackie Ballou, Devin Nobles, his wife Rosalind, Nellie and Brandon and Cheryl, who are back home, Richard's house. And we thank y'all for watching. Are we on?
20 seconds.
We thank y'all. Richard, thank you.
Class
this guy is a philanthropist.
Class
man.
act.
Class act people, man, out here. If y'all want to meet people, y'all come over here. This is a great place. We thank y'all, and God bless. And
We're out.
Patsy, love you, lady. Patsy, love you. Patsy Bertrand, love you. Miss Jackie, love you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll see y'all whenever. You know?
Field trip in order to St. Martinville.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all that. There's interesting things I'm learning about.